From Barbersville to Milton and all over eastern Cabell County, there's a lot going on in the Cabell Midland School District. Our series features the stories of local business owners, difference makers, and events. I'm Brody Nash, and this is Midland Minutes. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Midland Minutes. I'm here with Brandon Nelson of Patriot Meat Processing. We're on Pritchard Road in Ona, just out near the Ona Speedway and the Ona Airport. And Brandon's third generation meat processing, so he's seen some animals come through here. We're just going to kind of take a look inside the facility here and talk about that. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you for coming.
No problem. Just tell us a little bit about what you do here, who you serve, and just what the process is here.
We take care of local farmers. Anybody wants their beef processed, their hog processed, we're the guys that give a call. So we work for farmers. We sell to the general public. We have a display case here. We have all local raised stuff in here that we process here. And we have a few restaurants that depend on us to provide to the public that way.
Mm-hmm. So say I'm just off the street and I want to get some meat from you, like a lot of meat from you. Do you have some farmers that provide that and you'll process it for them? Somebody can buy half a cow from somebody?
Sure, yeah. If somebody wants to fill their freezer up, give your local farmer a call. We'll get an appointment, get him worked in.
Okay.
Or you can come in here and get one from us. Either way you want to do it.
Okay.
If you want to buy a lot, we can handle that. If you want to buy a little, we can handle that too. So we try to help everybody, no matter what your budget is. We try to tailor fit that to the family's budget.
Okay. And you process, you said you process cow, pig, goats, and sheep,
Mm-hmm.
and but not any poultry, and also occasional bison off the ridge, right?
Yeah. Every now and again a buffalo will wander its way in here as well.
Okay, so right down here, you've got a farmer brings a cow in on their truck. Walk me through from start to finish to getting it into the end user's truck.
Well, first off, you got to have an appointment. And once your appointment's here, then you'll back in. We'll get you tagged. You stop here at the office, we'll get you checked in. If your animal doesn't have an ear number tag, we will provide a back tag for you. That will be your new number throughout the duration. That number will follow it from this end of the building all the way to this end of the building. That way your beef don't get mixed up with somebody else's beef. So the animal comes in, we'll harvest the animal in a humane fashion, and we sanitize the animal and we hold it in our holding cooler for X amount of days, depending on the size and the fat cover that's on the animal. It could be anywhere from 7 days, or it could be all the way up to 14 days, depending on how big the animal is and the amount of fat that is on the animal. Then at that point, in between that time, we will get with the farmer or the customer and figure out how they want their beef, their swine, their goat, their lamb, tailor cut to their family's needs. A lot of people may want a lot of burger. Some people don't want hardly any burger at all. You get some people just say, give me steaks and burger and I'm good.
So being third generation and being part of this community for a while, and Wayne County community previously, you see a lot of county fairs, I'm sure.
Sure.
And you're involved in that, right? It's part of the community. Just tell us about your involvement with that and what else you do in the community.
Well, the idea of the FFA and the 4-H is for a child to have a project, whether it be a goat, lamb, beef, swine, a chicken, but we don't do chickens here. But they start with a project and they got to feed it and they got to figure out how much money they're going to have in it from start to finish. Well, at the end game, when they have the fair, they have a sale. So when a buyer buys an animal in the sale, they want to have it processed. We allow the whole month of July and the first 2 weeks of August pretty much just to accommodate their 5 local counties that surround us to be able to have the buyers have a place to where they can bring their animal from the fair. Mm-hmm. So if you went over and bought a steer at Mason County Fair and you want me to process it, you check the box, I'll go over and get it, or same with Cabell County Fair or Lawrence County, Ohio, wherever it is you live, and I'll go over and get it. Whenever it's time to pick it up, bring it up here, we'll process it, we'll get a hold of you on how you want it worked up, and we go from there.
Yeah. Is there an option to have fresh
Sure.
meat too that's never frozen?
Yeah, if you give us a call and you specifically don't want anything frozen, give us a call, place your order, give me a couple days, and I'll get that order filled non-frozen if that's what you want. Unfortunately, I don't have enough walk-in traffic to where I can't. I have to freeze it to preserve it because I don't have enough walk-in traffic to rotate it out fast enough.
Right, because your shelf life's going from what, 7 days to 6 months or more if it's frozen. Or how long will it stay frozen and good?
If it's vacuum sealed, which we vacuum seal here, as long as the seals doesn't break and you don't have a pinhole in the bag and correct frost on the inside, I'd say safe. I would feel safe telling you a year that you're good.
Yeah, because we bought them here, and we'll have a local farmer. Well, he's actually a doctor, but he likes to raise cow too. And a buddy of mine, client of mine, he'll bring a cow in to you every once in a while, or a few times a year. So we bought half of his cow. This is the second time we've done it, and it's local raised here in Ona. We know where it came from. My kids name it every year. We're like, we're gonna go get some so and so out of the freezer for dinner. So it's cool knowing where your food came from. And knowing that you don't have to rely on the grocery store if there's a shortage or whatever, because during COVID, man, ground beef shot up like crazy. And we had a whole freezer full of it, so it was really nice to have that. And guys like you are providing it, so that's pretty cool. Speaking of which, we're gonna go inside and look at a hanging side of beef, and Brandon's gonna walk us through what each piece is, the popular cuts and things like that. So now we're inside the holding cooler, and Brandon's going to talk about this side of beef and just kind of run us through the cuts that he can get out of one side of beef.
Well, if you're in Texas, this particular piece right here, which is your ribeye, is nothing. Right here is the cut that everybody wants in Texas, the brisket.
Yeah.
Right there's where it comes off of. Most generally it goes in hamburger. But once the weather starts warming up, everybody wants a brisket to throw on their new Traeger or charcoal smoker, whatever it is they got.
Yeah. And everybody thinks they're Guy Fieri, don't they?
There's a lot of grill dads out here who's pros.
Yeah.
But right here is the brisket. So we come back over here to the original thing. This is where all your money meat is. Here's your ribeyes. They'll stay right about through right there. Then from right here, this is the T-bone section, or as a butcher, we call it a short loin. Then back here would be your beef top butt. That's where your sirloins would come out of. Very popular in steakhouses. It's a cheaper steak because it's kind of the dirty cousin to the round, which is really lean. So it kind of marries into the top butt. Typically sirloins are a little bit leaner. They're a little bit cheaper, so restaurants can sell them at a good, cheap price and you still get a steak dinner. But you come down here, this is where all your marbling comes in, is this section right here. This is what we call the middle meats. So your ribeyes would come from here, and your T-bones, porterhouse, or New York strips and fillets, depending on if the bone is left in or not, is where the New York strips and fillets would come out of. The fillet is actually on the inside. It's the only muscle in the body that does not move. That's why it's so tender, and it's hidden right here.
So, like I said, I've had a few processed here. A friend of mine raises them. He brings them here and processes them. We take them home and we eat on them for 18 months for half a cow. So, when I give you the list of things I want cut, where does the ground beef come from? What parts of it don't you use for other cuts that gets ground up?
In a perfect world, it's bologna. It's what's left over. That's what your hamburger's made out of, is what's left over. After you get done giving me all your cherry picks of what you want, whatever's left over, we grind it up in hamburger. But today's time's evolving a little bit because the families are on the move a lot more. A lot of people don't have time to sit down and do a family dinner, but when they do, they want to do it quick. So you get a lot of tacos, a lot of spaghettis, a lot of lasagnas, and a lot of people's wanting to upgrade their quality. So they're actually taking the roast, and which this right here would be your arm roast or your English roast, then your chuck roast. Then you get a sirloin tip roast. That would be that big piece right here. This right here would be the flank. And if you ever heard of a skirt steak, this right here is your skirt.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would take this membrane off, like so. Right there's your skirt steak. A lot of Mexican restaurants will use this for a fajita meat.
Okay.
So that's where a skirt steak would come from. But back to your question, is a lot of people are taking their prime roast and grinding them up for burger. And you talk about some really, really good burger.
Yeah, I know, people don't cook like they used to. Like you said, they're in the speed. Ladies are not putting their roasts on all day like my grandma used to do. So actually, when we had that last one cut, I said we don't want the roast because those were the last ones we used last time. Put them in the hamburger, and it makes a huge difference, really, in the meat. So, all right, so that's your crash course on cuts of meat. Oh, you can see our breath in here. That's nice. You can just come in here when it gets hot outside.
Sure.
So he's going to talk about, we got a pig here hanging, and he's going to talk about the different cuts on that real fast.
So right now, the biggest popular cut on a hog is like the ribeye on the beef, is the bacon. The bacon is right here, or pork belly. So we would cut it about right here. And this would be the part that we would smoke and cure, and that would make your belly. Once we slice it, it now becomes bacon. Right here, this whole length from here to here is where your pork chops come from. Okay. Obviously, around Christmas time, this is the most popular cut. This would be the ham. And we're in the summer months, or hopefully soon, this section right here is very popular. This is what they call the pork front shoulder, or Boston butt. A lot of people put these on smokers and make pulled pork out of it.
So this is the head, but they call this the butt?
I know.
Is that right there? This is the head of the animal.
It is.
Okay. And then probably my favorite part other than bacon is the ribs. I mean, you get pretty good ribs out of here,
so
right?
You get 2 sets of ribs on one side. Obviously, you get 2 halves if you get a whole hog, like so. So you get 1 rack of ribs. Once I remove the belly, now you've got what they call spare ribs. Or I take the loin off of the bone right here, and you've got baby backs. Right here is your baby back rib.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that's where they come from, but that's it. So if you call and if you have this hog process and you say you want bone-in pork chops, but you also want the baby backs, you can't have that. So you would have to get boneless pork chops in order to get your baby back ribs.
Okay.
There's something saying as a St. Louis rib, which is the same thing as a baby back, but I would come down here and cut this bone just a little bit longer, and that would give you a St. Louis rib. It's the same thing, it's just a different name, just a little bit longer. It's not a marketing thing.
Yeah. I was out in Kansas City, for the Bengals playoff game, and had that barbecue out there.
St. Louis ribs?
Oh yeah, it was good. Brisket, and just the way they do it's different out there. Sure. Deal. All right, well, Brandon, thanks for your time today. I learned a lot as usual when I go out and meet these folks, and just thanks for being part of the community. Thanks for supporting what you do and being a necessary, if not glamorous part of the food chain for sure. A lot of us wouldn't eat without guys like you. So thanks a lot, man.